3, 2, 1. This time I will not bore you or be stupid with a Rod Sterling intro. So hello, Internet peeps. Welcome to another edition of Big Trouble in Little Podcast. I am Joe Dubs.
And I'm Andy.
And you are obsolete. So we have our Twilight Zone part 2, where we have 2 episodes, Nick of Time and The Obsolete Man. These are my picks for the Twilight Zone episodes that I wanted to watch this week. So we will dive into that a little bit later. So Andy, what the hell have you been playing or watching?
I watched some more Turn A Gundam. I talked about that last week. I rewatched Batman Returns and Batman Forever.
Really?
Batman Returns was better than I remembered in a lot of ways, and Batman Forever was way worse than I remember. Like, when I was a kid, I thought I liked that movie, but I watched it again, and now I kind of hate it. Like, it's boring and shitty, and I hate it.
Batman Returns, that's Michael Keaton, right?
Yeah.
And then Forever is
Val Kilmer.
Yeah. And would you say that was better?
Well, Batman Returns is better than I remember. Like, it's interesting, but it still has the mood of the first movie. But then Forever is where Schumacher took over, and he's a hack, and I hate him.
See, when these movies came out, me and you were young, so like we didn't really care. We were like, yeah, Batman, that's fucking cool and shit. Like,
yeah,
I remember liking the Val Kilmer Batman.
But I did too. I thought, and then like I said, I rewatched it. I was like, oh no, movie's bad.
Yeah, because we're adults, and since we our not profession, but our hobby is watching movies a lot. Like, seeing that is like, oh man, Val Kilmer, you were a fucking shitty Batman.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily his fault. It's just like the movie is just shitty. Like, I don't know. A lot of the stuff that people hate about Batman and Robin starts in that movie, and the direction's bad, and some of the dialogue's bad. And the acting isn't necessarily bad from the point of like Batman and the dork who plays Robin and the women in it. But Tommy Lee Jones is horribly miscast to be Two-Face. Jim Carrey's pretty good as the Riddler, but I don't know, it's still kind of a shitty part.
I think, was this one of the first superhero movies that had multiple villains in it?
No, Batman Returns had both Penguin and Catwoman in it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I keep on forgetting like Catwoman is a villain because she was more like of a sex appeal to Bruce Wayne. I felt like in that movie rather than a villain. I mean, she does fight him a couple of times, but it seems like some fucking kinky shit that happened.
Yeah, she's still clearly like out of her mind. She has like split personality. She murders Max Schreck.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she counts. She's a bad guy.
Yeah. Did she in the comic book series? Did she ever have split personalities? Like,
oh, I don't know. I've read like the big Batman stories. I've read like Hush and Long Halloween and stuff like that, but I haven't read a lot of Batman.
Mm-hmm. And which one was the Batman that had Christopher Walken in it?
That's Returns. He's Max Schreck.
The greatest thing about Christopher Walken is that he is in small roles, but they're great. Like, he'll just be there in the corner and be like, apple pie is great, and like that's me, in my opinion, a funny ass scene.
Yeah, he chooses scenery in Returns, but it kind of works. Returns is weird. It's like moody like the first one, but it starts getting a little campier. It starts being a little more silly.
Mm-hmm.
But in kind of a good way. Like, I feel like Forever, if it had been directed by Burton instead of just produced by him, I really think it could have been saved. Because it's like, he directs goofy, silly stuff, but it's still, I don't know, maybe I just like him better as a director than Joel Schumacher. But of course I like I don't know, dog turds as a better director than Joel Schumacher, I guess.
Did Schumacher do with George Clooney too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking just tells a lot, because the George Clooney Batman sucked dick, and I did not like it at all.
That one is at least so bad it's hilarious. Like Forever is just kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. Now, question: who do you think is the best Batman?
I don't know. The best Batman. Uh, I think Keaton. I guess.
I
I
agree
think.
with you, and like a close second would have to be Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Because
Who's the best Bruce Wayne?
best Bruce Wayne, I think Ben Affleck, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know, in the Batman vs Superman, I felt like he was even though he was a good Batman too, it just that his Bruce Wayne felt like he was a rich, Bruce Wayne. I don't know, and
Sure.
he had the body for it too. So
Yeah, he had that right.
yeah, because Christian Bale, he's skinny. He had that American Psycho thing going on when he's Bruce Wayne,
Hmm.
and then Michael Keaton is just Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
But that he was good in the '90s, Michael Keaton. So he was a great Batman. So what else did you do?
I watched two other movies. Some friends and I we do like theme movie nights, and some guy did the movies based on stories by Reynard. I can't say the guy's name. Runyard Kipling, whatever Kipling.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched The Man Who Would Be King and Gunga Din. Gunga Din is a good movie. There's a fight scene in the first like 20 minutes of it that is like the best ever. Like some thuggy cultists attack these British soldiers, and there's a fight in this town, and someone's throwing dynamite, and it's awesome. And then the rest of the movie's just good. The Man Who Would Be King is a masterpiece. That movie's fantastic, and everyone should see it. It's got Sean Connery, Michael Caine, Christopher Plummer, and they are doing
1975. Damn.
it. It's hard to explain that movie too much. Like they go off into this region up in the mountains. It's actually in present day Afghanistan to basically become kings. Like they're just going to round up people, teach them how to soldier, and then kind of conquer the land and stuff like that. But it's an excellent movie. The acting's great, the writing's great. Oh my god, the movie is great.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. 1975. The synopsis says two British former soldiers decided to set themselves up as kings of, I can't say that word, a land where no white man has set foot since Alexander the Great.
Yeah, and that's a plot point.
Mm-hmm.
It's great though.
Michael Caine in 1975. I gotta see this. I could just imagine it. Just his fucking accent and everything. I wonder if he still has that drawn out British accent.
He's really good in it, but I think I liked Connery better, which is weird because usually I like Sean Connery, but I don't love him unless he's like Bond or something. But he really killed it in that movie.
Oh, he's got the fucking Motorhead Lemmy uh,
Yeah.
thing going on.
This time, did you watch anything?
I read something actually.
Oh, okay. Well, that works too.
So I am reading this Firebird series. In Christmas, I got a bunch of time travel and alternate reality like fiction books, and I'm reading 1,000 Pieces of You. The synopsis is, you can go in between dimensions and stuff.
Sure.
They have this device. So the main character, father died by this person named Paul, and he stole the device, and he's going through dimensions and stuff. So they're chasing him through different dimensions, and how that works pretty much is because the theory is there's a multiverse. So there's different versions of you, and like there are some versions that you're not there, where your parents didn't meet and everything.
Yeah.
So how you travel in these other dimensions is you go in your own body. So whatever, if you're in a different country because you moved or something, you're there and you're living that person. So like the actual person that lived in that dimension is like, I guess, daydreaming or blacking out while you're taking over.
Weird.
It's interesting, and I thought because a lot of females because I read the reviews and stuff, and a lot of females were like, this is a great book, it has like a great love story too in it. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like one of those, and I'm hooked on it already. So I don't recommend it yet because I didn't read the whole book yet, but I'm starting to. I'm like halfway done with it.
Hmm.
Other things I did play NHL, but I'm not gonna bore you with what I've done with that. I'm getting ready for football. I'm really sound like a sports jock right now. Football,
Football.
yeah. You got the Jags and the Patriots that are playing right now, and then later
Hmm.
tonight we have the Vikings versus Eagles. Go Vikings! By the way, Minnesota. I'm all for that. Um, what else did I did watch a movie. Oh no, I watched some Reno 911.
No.
Yeah. Uh, Me and my friend at work were like, let's watch some Reno 911, and I forgot how good that TV show was.
Yeah, it
So
was funny.
hilarious. Yeah, and that's all I did. I'm not starting any big games yet. I do have Xenoblade Chronicles, but I'm gonna save that for another day because one, that's a big game, and two, I don't have time for it right now. But yeah, how about we dive into some Twilight Zone? What do you say, Andy?
Absolutely.
So let's go into Nick of Time. So the synopsis, by the way, that has William Shatner in it. That's all you need to know. The other character, I forgot her name and everything, but their car breaks down in Ohio, and the mechanic is like, it's gonna take around maybe like 2 to 4 hours, but let's safe bet on for 4 hours. So William Shatner is like, "What do we do? Oh God!" And they go to a diner and they order some food, and at the table there's like this napkin holder kind of thing, and you give like a penny and you ask it like yes or no questions, like am I gonna be rich, and then you put the penny in, you hit the slot, and then it tells you an answer. So what happens is he starts to ask, like, I guess personal questions, like am I gonna get the promotion at work? So he does it, and he goes on the phone, and lo and behold, he gets the promotion. So he starts to get superstitious in a way. And by the way, before I go on, these shows came out a long time ago, so there's going to be heavy spoilers. So let me put that out there before I get deep into the story. Um, and then he starts to exit questions like, "Well, is that car going to be ready?" And it's like it gives you like vague but like precise answers and stuff. And then he says, "Well, what time should we go?" And he asks other questions like, "Are we in danger?" And he says, "Well, not right now." And it's like, "If we go out now, will we, get hurt?" And it said, "Only if you act quick." And so, like, it starts to get a little weird. So the wife kind of gets all antsy and says, let's go, let's get out of here. And, I'm getting freaked out by this machine, kind of. And they go out before because the machine is like, you could go at 3 o'clock. So William Shatner's character was trying to wait until 3 o'clock, and then the wife's like, "No, let's get out of here." And while that's happening, a car almost runs him over, and it's pretty much it, right? I hit the synopsis of the story in a
Yeah,
way.
I mean, they use this machine. You have to ask it yes or no questions, and it gives you kind of like Magic 8 Ball answers.
Hmm.
And they keep asking it stuff, and it gives like really weirdly appropriate answers to the questions. And then when they step out, they almost get hit by the car because it was telling them not to leave before 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And Shatner specifically starts thinking that like it's magic and it tells all these true answers, and we got to get out of here. But at the end, they kind of finally tear themselves away from it and leave.
Yeah. And I understood the wife is like, I don't want this machine, predicting every move that we're gonna make.
Yeah,
Because he was asking questions like, "Are we going to move to the east? Are we going to move to the west? Are we going to move to the
right.
south?" And it was like, "All right, William Shatner, don't get too specific." But a question for you: would you, if you had a machine in front of you that would predict the future, would you use it, or would you be like,
Selectively, I guess. I mean, it would be hard to avoid, your own curiosity.
Hmm. The one thing I hated about this episode was the wife, um, because she saw the coincidence, not the coincidence, the things that were happening, like when they almost got hit by a car, when he asks, "Is the car ready?" and then the mechanic came in, and she still was like in disbelief.
I mean, if this happened to you, wouldn't you be skeptical?
I mean, I would be like William Shatner. I would be in his shoes more than her shoes. I think because a lot of people see the unknown and they get freaked out, and I don't know why. Me, I would ask him more questions. I'd be like, I'd be pursuing the answer rather than running away. And I feel like the wife was running away the whole time. Like
She was scared. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I hated. But the writing in a way was kind of weird. The dialogue felt stupid at times. I don't know if you had the same view as me.
Yeah, somewhat.
But you were saying before we recorded, like this is the one, like one of the least liked Twilight Zones, right? For you?
No, I was saying it was one of the least Twilight Zone-y Twilight Zones. Like, it doesn't seem crazy and magical. Like, it could all be a coincidence. Like, if someone described this story to me as having happened in real life, I wouldn't have a hard time believing it, because nothing in it happens that's like the other one we watched takes place in a future society that's all like totalitarian and terribles and stuff like that. So it's clearly fictional, but like this one seems more like something that could just happen.
Yeah, and there is superstitious people out there. I mean, you have the magic 8 ball, even though a lot of people know that it's a toy, but some people actually do believe in it. And Ouija board somehow, you get to talk to like paranormal ghosts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So this was one of the like believable episodes, but I like what they did at the end. And actually, I had mixed feelings about the end too, where the other couple, just random couple, come in and they keep on asking questions if they're gonna leave or not. And I thought that was interesting in a way, because
Yeah, I kept wondering, like, what does the guy who runs the place think of it? Or is he in on it, or,
maybe, but I like how the couple were like, "Are we gonna leave?" Because it felt like they were prisoned to this machine, like they were hooked on it.
Yeah.
And that could have been William Shatner and his wife. If they kept on asking questions,
They escaped.
Mm-hmm. And then moved on. I thought when they were getting hit by the car, I'm like, you should have just stayed on the one side instead of going across the truck. Because once they crossed the truck, that's when the other car like zigzagged around the truck and almost hit them.
Yeah.
So they kind of, William Shatner probably created that in a way, and it seemed like it was a coincidence with the machine. Do you think the machine was telling the truth on most of it, or it was just giving the right answers at the right time? The coincidence, as the wife said.
I don't know. Like, it is the Twilight Zone, so I feel like the answer should be, oh, it was magical and it was trying to trick them. But I don't know. Again, if someone told me this story was true, I'd be like, oh, okay, I guess I believe that.
Yeah.
So I want to err on the side of it's a cautionary tale about letting superstition get the better of you.
Yeah. And there was no theme about death, unless they...
Yeah, I think this was one of the first episodes that started shooting a hole in that theory of mine.
Yeah. I mean, unless you say, if you don't listen to this machine, then 3 o'clock, or before 3 o'clock, you're dead.
I think the only way I was able to rationalize it at the time was they had died and they were in limbo.
Mm-hmm.
But even that was a bit of a stretch. So
yeah. So do you recommend this episode?
Yeah. I mean, I recommend every episode of this show.
I think we said this last episode. I said every Twilight Zone we kind of recommend because we just love this show.
Yep.
Moving on to the obsolete man. Andy, do you want to give this synopsis?
It's the future, and society is totalitarian, and it's run by like they get rid of undesirables. They kill people, they execute them, and they bring this librarian in who's played by Burgess Meredith, and they tell him, "You're obsolete. We're gonna kill you. You get to choose how you die." And he says, "Oh, okay. I want only my assassin to know how I'm gonna die, and I want it to happen at midnight, and I want it to be televised." And they say, "Oh, okay, that's cool." So he invites like the guy who deems him obsolete, the judge. I mean, he's not a judge; he's a
Chancellor.
chancellor. That's right.
Yeah.
He drops by to talk to him a little bit, and like at his apartment, which is where he's going to die. And there's like a TV camera in there, and he's talking to him about how books are ridiculous and God's ridiculous, and the party is awesome, and stuff like that. And then he realizes that the door is locked and he can't get out. And like part of the execution is that Burgess Meredith has to be like isolated. There's no one else around. There's no guards or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trapped in this room, and Burgess Meredith reveals that he is going to be killed by a bomb that goes off at midnight. And he has kind of tricked the Chancellor into being trapped in here with him. And at the end, he kind of like freaks out. "Oh, please let me live in the name of God." And he says, "Yes, in the name of God, I'll let you go." And he lets him out. And Burgess Meredith is just sitting there just reading his Bible, like, you know, kind of content and reading stuff about, you know, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," etc., etc. And then at the end, because of his cowardice and the way that he reacted on national television to dying in the name of in the name of the government, they deem the Chancellor obsolete. And then in a really weird scene, they like bum rush him and I guess beat him up or something.
Yeah.
The end of this episode is the only part I'm not in love with.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. Like at the end when they're all humming and stuff, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it becomes like a musical, and they're like a street gang, and they come at him and like surround him all weird. It's I don't know.
It's like West Side Story shit right there.
Yeah, it is.
I like the dystopian society in a way. In this government, you can't be a librarian. You can't read books because books is obsolete. Things that matter. I noticed that carpentry was good. He's like, this is a good skill, you know. If
he was useful. He could build things. They like that.
Mm-hmm. But books and art and anything that had to do with the like free will and mind was no good. And apparently, and religion was bad too, because he had to hide his Bible for like 20 years and stuff. And what else was it? This government like took people like Hitler and Stalin. You're like, oh, they did it wrong. We're gonna kill the right people this time. We're gonna kill all the old people.
They said they didn't go far enough.
Yeah,
was his criticism of Hitler and Stalin.
Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy.
All right, guys, calm down. Yeah.
Because in today's politics, you know, with the whole taking down statues and changing history books and talking how the white man is evil and all that stuff, just anything that has to do with slavery today and all that stuff, deleting history is how I felt in this episode. Like, I felt in this episode this government was deleting history, deleting religion in any way, and that's how I compared it to like today's politics in a way. You know, a lot of people, not a lot of people, but a certain side does not like religion that much, does not like God. So I don't know. Did you feel that way? Like certain politics kind of go with the chancellor and how their government works?
Well, like, yeah, I mean, this is also kind of a cautionary tale. This is another sci-fi dystopian Orwellian trope about they always try to control the narrative, and they've taken away books and history and religion and stuff so that they can more easily control people's ideas and thoughts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. The acting was great because of what's that actor's name who plays Rocky's trainer?
Burgess Meredith?
Yeah. The Penguin. He plays Penguin too.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
From Batman, the 60s show. Anyway, just him and the Chancellor had good chemistry, in my opinion, when they had dialogue compared to Nick of Time. I thought the dialogue between William Shatner and the wife was kind of awkward at times, but like in The Obsolete Man, I was like, this is believable if they were having like a politics fight and all that stuff. And I really liked in the beginning, he's like, I am not obsolete. You can't just delete, or burn pages in the book and it's gone. It's forever going to be in me. I am not obsolete. And the High Chancellor kept on saying, well, the state believes that there is no God, that you are not allowed to be a librarian. That makes you obsolete. And I thought it was interesting on how that was going on. What did you think?
This is one of the best episodes of this series. I really like it. The acting's great, the story's great, the message is great. Like I said, just that last scene is weird. I kind of wish that he would have just walked in and they'd been like, stay where you are. You've been replaced. We've deemed you obsolete. And he'd be like, no. And then they would cut away, and then Serling would give his post episode, this is a warning, etc., in the Twilight Zone thing instead. But it's got that weird, like, choreographed thing where they grab him, and it's cool when they drag him along the table, but then the rest of it's just strange.
I forgot to mention in the Man Who Opened Up the Sky or something like that, where they're trying to find Ed Harrington, and he's like knocking on the door of the bar, and he's like, Ed Harrington, Ed, and then he like crashes through and he's like, Harrington.
Yeah,
I thought that was like out of place.
Well, in fact, that wasn't in the script. Like, the guy who was shooting just that scene, like the sub director or whatever, they decided to shoot that, and then they showed it to the main guy, and he was like, yeah, let's keep this in, this is cool.
It was funny as hell, more than cool. But yeah, this episode, The Obsolete Man, was the season finale of season 2, by the way. Last episode.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So it makes sense you go out on a great episode. And I was looking through season 2, and there was just so many episodes that were so iconic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about this episode?
It's hard to, just because it's hard to say stuff about a show that's decades old, especially when everyone has already said, oh, the show's great, oh, it's one of the best shows ever. It's a great example of some of the best sci-fi writing of the last century. This episode's great. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I don't know what else to say.
It's really hard because me and you like it a lot, so we agree on a lot of Twilight Zone. So people who like our debates and our different point of views, there is none on Twilight Zone.
No.
But people who don't, I know a lot of people that either A, think that Twilight Zone is stupid, and B, that they never heard of it before. So B, if you never heard of it before, go watch it. And the people that think it's stupid, Rod Sterling, I understand it's an opinion, and I get it, and they have every right for their opinion, but Rod Sterling was a good writer. And during the Cold War, having all those episodes where Russia might nuke America, you had that one episode where the nuclear bomb goes off, and the guy's in the safe, and then he breaks his glasses at the end because he can't read his books.
Yeah.
Like, and also just like aliens and paranormal stuff. It just, again, Rod Sterling talked about the unknown, and I guess people don't like the unknown. And I recommend Twilight Zone, and it's on Netflix and Hulu, and
Rod Serling went on to do lots of other stuff, and Twilight Zone is kind of his most famous. Night Gallery is good too. It's kind of the same premise, more or less.
Mm-hmm. I didn't like Night Gallery that much.
I didn't like it as much, but it is. I think some people will like it enough. Like if you love Twilight Zone that much and you just need something else, then yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we recommend it. And Andy, what is next week's movie we're gonna watch?
Next week, there's a movie on Amazon Prime called A Ghost Story. Yeah. I don't know a ton about this movie. Really, it's just the main reason I wanted to watch it, the main reason I picked it is because
Casey,
the two main guys from Red Letter Media said it was their favorite movie last year. And I was like, oh, okay, what's it about? And I guess it's about a guy who has died and is now a ghost. And it's him floating around doing ghost stuff. And the movie is shot in a weird aspect ratio. And it was put out by A24. And that's kind of all I know about it.
And Casey Affleck's in it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Anything
I think he has a sheet on the whole time. I can't remember if it's him or someone else, but the main character just like has a sheet on and is a ghost the whole time, so you don't really see their face anyway.
Well, I'm reading IMDb, and it says Casey Affleck plays C, and Rooney Mara plays M.
But yeah, I decided I was going to go into it knowing not tons about it, and I wanted to see if it was any good. Yep. So I chose that. And it's on Amazon Prime, so nice and easy.
Nice and easy. Lemon squeezy. So that will be our movie for next week. Make sure you go watch it on Amazon Prime, and we'll discuss it next week. I said next week. Remember, since we watched Twilight Zone, and if you have any comments and anything about what we talked about, please comment below. Let's go into some news that matter to us. Just a few quick stories here. Rian Johnson trolled fans on Twitter the other day about spoiler alert about The Last Jedi. If you haven't seen Last Jedi and you don't want to hear spoilers, then skip this, or go eat something. So at the end of The Last Jedi, there's a hologram Luke, or a ghost projected Luke, trying to fight Kylo Ren. And people were like, this is bullshit. Why is Luke doing that? How can he do that? We never saw this before. And Rian Johnson, like, the first tweet was like eyeballs and stuff. And then the next tweet was his bookshelf. And then the other tweet was a picture of two books, the Book of the Sith and the Path of the Jedi. And he opens up the Path of the Jedi and shows that it is possible for a Jedi to do that. And I like that he did that, but I also don't like that he had to explain himself through a tweet rather than explain himself in the movie. A 2-sentence would have been great. Be like, I learned this, on the island while people were trying to find me. Or something along the line. I wish he explained it in the movie rather than explain it through a tweet. I hate when that happens.
I don't want to be told in the movie why Luke can do that or other stuff. I like that the movie makes the Force like magical and weird again. Like in the prequels and then subsequently in video games and stuff, people wanted there to be rules. Oh, there's Force lightning and push and pull and Force jump. And Jedi can deflect laser bolts. And those are the rules, and that's what they do. No, that's stupid. The Jedi should be mythical, and they should be something beyond. Like the Force should be barely comprehensible, and it should be something that you have to study years to understand, and it should be magical. I mean, and I like that. I like that there's a bunch of stuff in Last Jedi that makes the Force again, and not just Matrix rules.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I like The Last Jedi, how they explored new ideas with the Force. And I'm okay with that.
But you want them to explain it to you on the screen.
Not
Like,
even not like fully. Like something like in the prequels, I believe Yoda was talking to uh Obi-Wan, and he was like explaining Qui-Gon was learning how to do the whole ghost uh Jedi thing. When when you die you become a ghost. He was getting trained to do that. And it was like a sentence. It wasn't even like in bold letters, hey, Qui-Gon could do this. It was just something they just casually said.
okay, well then let me ask you this: in the original movies, when you see Ben Kenobi appear, as like celestial Jedi ghost spirit, and he's talking to Yoda, and then also at the end of Jedi when Yoda and Kenobi and Anakin are all there, did you hate it then?
No, no. Um
Well, it hadn't been explained yet, so
touche. Touche. That's all I'll say. And then more tweets were happening and people were like, well, what about Princess Leia, floating in space and stuff? And his only answer was because she's badass. And I'm like, dumb response. Dumb response, because that was a stupid scene. And I think he knows that's a stupid scene.
oh yeah, that's the worst scene in the movie, like
Mm-hmm.
far and away.
Yeah, if you can't explain that and just respond with, badass, she's badass. I get it, Princess Leia is badass, but she was badass when she was not floating in space. Anyway, moving on before we go into another big debate about The Last Jedi. Um, just a quick mention, if you're a fan of Super Troopers 2 trailer got released. Did you watch it, Andy?
Yeah, it did. It looks funny.
Yeah.
I like the first movie; it's really funny.
A lot of people were like, why did it take so long for a sequel to happen? And I'm like,
Yeah, I wonder that too. Like, part of me was like worried. It took so long to make this movie. Is it going to be good?
do you think that? Or because in my opinion, and this is not a comedy, but like Avatar, it took 15 years for that movie to be released, and then uh they're talking about a sequel and it's already been 10 years for Avatar 2. I think the more you wait, the more you put time in a film, and like in any other thing, in like games or films and all that stuff, it
Yeah.
should be good. Unless it's like Duke Nukem where it's keep on getting delayed, and then yeah.
Whenever movies get delayed too much, or oops, especially when like a director or something like that gets changed, I immediately start thinking the worst. Like this Han Solo movie that's coming out this year, after they fired the other directors, I have very low expectations. And it might be great, but it's just whenever I hear stuff like that, like development problems with a movie, I think, oh well, that movie's not going to be great.
Yeah, and
But there are obvious exceptions to that rule. It's not absolute. It's just that's my knee jerk reaction, and then I'm delighted to be proved wrong.
yeah. Sorry to go back on The Last Jedi, but did you hear that China pulled The Last Jedi from all theaters
No, why?
because nobody wanted to go see it?
Oh,
They were having a bad turnout, and it was like down 80.
China the country pulled it from theaters, or the distribution company did?
The country
No,
from every theater.
that's weird. China's a weird place. They have weird rules. Could you imagine if the government in the United States decided to pull a movie from theaters?
Yeah, I mean, no, that was the interview, and that was in North Korea. Never mind. But yeah, it would be weird. Um, but it's interesting though, because the Last Jedi did. Do you think the Last Jedi was successful? It was successful money wise, but you think like since it was so divisive that in Episode 9 they might have to change them things up because
They
of it?
will, and that's going to be a tragedy because Episode 8 took a lot of risks, and I think a lot of them paid off, but not everyone liked it, and that's not what Disney's after. They want money, money, money. So they're going to make it as close to Force Awakens as possible, and that's a shame because Force Awakens already exists.
I feel like they've been on the down since like the Force Awakens. Like when the Force Awakens came out, yeah, you had the people who were like, "Oh, this is like New Hope and everything,"
Yep.
and but it was still Star Wars and it was something new, and because of the new characters like Rey and Finn and all that, and it's like, wow, amazing. This is like it's a new hope again. You know, we're getting this cool sci-fi back, and we're getting a trilogy. And then you had Rogue One come out, and it was I liked the movie, but a lot of people were like, this is okay, it's
Yeah.
cool, and it didn't have a big turnout as Force Awakens. And then you had The Last Jedi come out, and it was so divisive, and it's not making as much money as Force Awakens, so they have to bring it up in Episode 9. I feel like, and J.J. Abrams is doing Episode 9, and I hope, from my point of view, he changes some things about Rey, but I don't want to get into it. We're gonna have another 2-hour episode. Another quick story: Castlevania anime season 2 is coming this summer.
Yay!
They didn't say when this summer, but the director was like, "Oh yeah, we're coming this summer."
It's gonna be twice as many episodes, 8 episodes this time instead of 4.
Yep. So be ready for that. And yeah, that's it for news wise. Do you have anything? Did you see anything, Andy, that you want to quickly mention?
Nah, I might have mentioned Castlevania. That's what got me really excited. But yeah, that's pretty much it. January is just such a slow time for movie and TV kind of stuff. So there's not a lot to say.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, new TV shows are going to be happening in the springtime. So
Yeah.
when that happens, I know me personally, since I'm a big TV person, I'll be explaining some, things you guys should watch. Maybe I might review some episodes too.
Not me. I'll probably be talking about old movies that you should see.
Old movies like Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it after this.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not watching it for the first time. I've seen that movie before. The movie's brilliant. It's on Netflix. Go watch it.
Nice. And I think that's it. I think we'll end it on that note. Thanks for watching episode 25. Wow, 25 episodes. We have 5 more until we hit episode 30.
We have 75 more until we hit episode 100.
Yep. And we're striving for that. And
but then we're done though. Nothing after 100.
Yeah, we're retiring. We're gonna take our YouTube money, which is like $2 because of views. And
I mean, we get nothing now. YouTube announced if you haven't had 4,000 hours of views, then you don't get shit anymore. Because fuck you, you're too small.
Oh, like some side note news: Amazon apparently filed for 2 names, Amazon Tube and OpenTube. So maybe
interesting.
Yeah, maybe Amazon is gonna make their own version of YouTube, or they're just doing another TV kind of thing.
The name Amazon Tube is too on the nose. They should call it something more clever than that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, maybe they're just covering they're just filing like a bunch of names, and they're all gonna do it at a meeting or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for watching listening episode 25 of Big Trouble in Little Podcast. Remember to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And also, you're gonna see this show like change sometimes because I'm trying out new things. So just bear with us a little bit.
We're gonna add holograms and smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision, yes. So we're gonna fart in the microphone. All right, everybody. You guys have a good day, and go Vikings.
See ya. Thanks for listening.